I don't know if anybody has any idea how much work it takes to put something like this together, and I don't know how you do it, but all I can say is thank you. People's lives are going to get changed through this, and this is incredible. This is really all I want to kind of focus on. Other people are having, like, they're talking about NDEs and stuff like that, but to actually do this under control and to actually understand that you are doing this because of your right as a sovereign being with this power. That's not coming up anywhere on the radar screen except for what you've done with the ADA method. So
hello, everyone. I have Ian with me, and he's going to be sharing his success story with the out-of-body state. So welcome, Ian. First thing I want to ask you is, how long have you been working with the method so far?
So I think it's been about a month. I need to go back and see when I paid for it. But I've been listening to your videos since before I bought it. And I actually almost had an experience about 2 nights before I bought the ADA method. So I had 2 like encounters that were not experiences, but they I knew what was happening. And then finally I had my first OBE, and then I had one last night actually as well. So
fantastic. So
yeah.
So basically 2 solid ones, and then yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know what I should do first. Should I tell you, should I go from the most recent back, or should I,
So let's go to the very first one. So when you were listening to in the interviews, what interviews of mine is what you were saying?
Yeah, I was listening to, everything that you're putting out, unpaid content, basically, which I don't know how you keep the lights on, quite frankly, but this is amazing stuff, and it's worth way more than every penny. So, but anyway, the first encounter, this is where I didn't actually get out of my body, but I knew I was about to. And essentially, and this is interesting too, because there is like a time travel component with this. Like, I verified something here. But I did the intention. I repeated that 4 times. I didn't know about the breathing yet because I hadn't got the course. So I just did the only thing I did, and it was about maybe 5:30 in the morning. So I got back at a time where I could lay down at about 5:30. So the only thing I did, I lay down in the bed, and I said the intention. I intend to be out of my body with complete consciousness, and I repeated that 4 times. And then let my body shut down with nothing really special. Just my eyes are closed and I'm letting my body shut down. And there was one issue there. There's actually 2 issues which is why this one I don't think worked. One was that I had coffee like 3 hours before this.
Yeah, there you go.
And the other issue was that there was the light this was before daylight savings time in the United States, and the light was starting to come in, and there's a mirror at the foot of my bed. So I was starting to get light from that mirror, and that was interfering with what was going on. But anyway, I did go into what I'm calling I don't call it a paralysis, because I really believe that if I wanted to move, I could. It doesn't seem like I'm really paralyzed, but it is a shut down the body situation. And I've been doing this since before I actually discovered you and your material. So my body would just be 100% like stopped, except for breathing, right? Breathing and heartbeat. And I would be completely conscious of everything that's going on around me. In fact, heightened audio perception. So I'm hearing like everything that's going on down the street, everything that's close by. And so so I got into that state pretty quickly that morning, and there, and then finally I had this experience where it was like a detach, like you just feel like you are, and I was like excited. I was really sort of like hyped up. So I like launched. I was like, I'm doing this. I'm out of here. You know, I'm getting out of my body right away. And so I was like jumping. I felt like I was jumping, you know, up out of my body, like launching myself off the foot of the bed. And as soon as that happened, just zap back to my body, because
Okay. Yeah.
and I figured out like this has to do with adrenaline, right? The
Yes.
excitement.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I say that's why I say always stay calm. Otherwise, you're gonna get yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, so this one didn't work, but right before that happened, and this has been I've noticed something going on with the practice, which is that if I if I've shut down the body, sometimes I'm going into a little dream zone, and I know it's not the out of body. It's just it's a dream zone where a lot of stuff is coming in through your head. But some of those dream zones are sort of profound. And right before I had this launch experience, I saw a particular scene with a tractor trailer truck that was a tanker, and it was a Peterbilt, and it was a silver tanker, and it was like a silverish Peterbilt on the left. 3 days later, this exact scene appeared to me in Coachella,
Physically?
California, physically. 3 days
Potential
later,
time.
this was exactly.
Yep.
So this is a verified premonition to me that you're out of time. You can get information that's not past.
Has not had that has not has happened. Yeah, this is when you're out of your body. You have the access to access potential time events, and someone like you with that, you could have distorted that time event by knowing that was a possibility. But yeah, you're just confirming exactly what I'm saying.
So I was excited. Like I said, if it wasn't for a couple of things which I didn't understand until after getting your material, then that could have been an out of body right then and there. But that little dream moment is like right before I actually was in that launch mode, was where that scene appeared. So it wasn't even in an out of body state that I saw that, but it was no question about it. It was a premonition of a scene that I would see 3 or 4 days later. Okay. Out of body encounter number 2.
So was the out of body encounter number 2, was this one practicing the method now as well?
Now I'm attempting to practice the method. I've got your material. Yeah. And I'm trying to fix what I messed up before.
Yeah.
So
let me ask you this before you get into that. Sorry. Let me just, sure. How long from practicing to this one that you're about to tell me? So how long from practicing the material to this story that you're about to say? This is either 1 or 2 weeks. I think it's just 1 week. Okay.
I think it's just 1 week, because I'm pretty excited about it right now. Yeah. I just had that happen. I got your material. So 1 week on, and I shut down the body, and it's like I'm going in, I'm going out, but what I'm saying, I'm going in, there's like dream encounters or dream things happening, but then I'm coming back to the body being shut down, where I'm fully conscious of everything that's going around me, but the body is shut down. And then okay, I'm going to say an experience. I'm not sure if this actually happened before my first real one or before this one, but there was an experience where I looked down at my left arm, and it was as though I was about 5 feet away from my left arm, and I was looking at it, I was like, oh yeah, that's not going anywhere. I was detached in myself from the physical body. And so anyway, so this second encounter was interesting because I heard you with James, and James was talking about this move. He's a swimmer, and he's talking about this move with his legs like this. And this is before I had seen that. I had the same thing happening with my leg. I'm a scuba diver. So if you're ever in the water and you just sort of like finning your legs like this, that's what I was doing. I like the first thing that happens to me right before I'm going out of body is 0G. And in this case, it was 0G with this, the scuba diving feeling. Like I feel like I'm in water, and I'm watching my feet do this, and it's kind of like my whole body is doing that, right? And I'm starting to get excited again, and so I'm saying, okay, I'm about to come out of my body, so I'm going to try what Darius says, and I'm going to roll to the right. And as soon as I did that, I don't know what took place, but I had some kind of I started to, and then it's like I just groaned, and then I went back. I got right back into the body again, and I just gave up, went back to sleep. I knew it was kind of like past, So I just, okay, it's not going to happen. Also, I had coffee that night. Okay. So that told me a lot about caffeine. Okay, finally, my first actual out of body experience happens probably about a week. I think it's 1 to 2 weeks. Anyways, it feels like all this feels like it was pretty compact. So let's say a week. Same thing. I get the body shut down.
This is the third one that you're talking about now?
This is the third attempt, but the first successful.
Got it. Yep.
Body is shut down. And let's see here. Body is shut down. And what happens is I go into like a state where I know it's coming. I know it's coming, but I'm going to stop myself this time from getting excited. So I said, okay, you're going to be out of your body. Wait a minute. I think I'm getting this back to front. Okay. It went this way. This is another thing. You really have to write stuff down, because in order to get it, like your memory doesn't, like, it's not built to put this stuff together, because there's things that don't make sense to your head, right?
Yeah.
So you really have to write down.
Yeah. It does improve over time though. Yeah. So
does it? Okay, good.
Yeah. We'll improve over time.
Okay. So in this one, so here's what the first thing was. I think now that I'm going back to it, it was the acknowledgement of the excitement, but knowing that I'm out of my body. And so I just decided, okay, just relax, first of all, and then just like sit on the bed. So I did that. It feels right now like it was only like a minute or less than that, but at the time it was a decision for that to be a duration of time that I would just relax sitting on the bed out of my body, which I did. And then I was ready to be out of my body. And what happened then was that I went into basically like, I'll call it another sort of a scuba dive sort of deal. I felt like I was immersed in water, and I was weightless. I was free, and this is what I was waiting for. And so here I go. I'm weightless, and I'm hearing what turns out to be my mouth breathing, because I guess I was breathing through my mouth. And so I was like, oh yeah, so it's like I'm scuba diving, and it was comical. I just instantly manifested scuba gear all over myself, like, and so I'm cruising around, and then that all kind of like changed. Like I just went to another sort of scene, and I just started telling myself, okay, I'm going to go boldly. I'm going to walk. I'm going to go boldly. I'm just going to move forward. And so I'm walking now, just, no weightlessness, but I'm walking. And I don't know if I'm walking through doors or walls or what, but I'm in a house which I don't it feels familiar, yet I can't tell you, where it is. I mean, I might have seen someplace like this in, someplace like Dayton, Ohio, or something. I don't know. I don't know where I was, but I ended up walking into a living room, and there's a light on, and everything is absolutely feeling real. I'm not, you can touch things, you can see, you can hear. Everything there's nothing surreal about it. But when you go back to remember it, it's your brain wants to kind of surreal, make it surreal. It wants to, like, but when you're in it, it's real. It's absolutely real. And so anyway, so I get to there's nobody in this room.
Would you say the physicality is no different than the physical body in that aspect of the contact with
100%.
material? Yeah.
100%. The only thing is that you can make changes. Like I said, I just went from scuba diving to walking, and that's nothing. I mean, that's just like, okay, that doesn't interfere with the physicality of it. That doesn't interfere with the reality of what it is, the experience. So I walk into this room, and there's nobody there. There's a light on. I mean, it's like everything is really well defined. There's a chair. There's, it's like this is not an imaginary thing, but there's nobody there. And so I just kind of thought to myself, okay, what's next? And as soon as I thought that, boom, back to the body, end of the experience. That was OBE 1. OBE number 2 happened last night. And it also had some, well, it's fascinating to me. So it took me close to, it took me probably about 2.5 hours, I think, for this OBE to occur. So I did the same thing. I'm on my back. Everything's relaxed. I'm in a hotel, by the way, and I think that has something to do with something else that happened.
Could I ask you though? Could I ask you? Did you use did you use the soundtracks that I have up there?
No,
okay.
I have not. I have not done that. No eye masks. No, nothing. And by the way, part of the on that first encounter, not success, but the first encounter thing, was that my mirror at the foot of my bed, I think, started to give me some glare from a window that's behind the head of my bed, and that like my left eyelid starts opening and seeing some of that light, and so there's some interference there. But anyway, I think the main thing though was caffeine. The main thing probably with that was caffeine. But last night was interesting. Even though I had caffeine hours before, I'd also had a big heavy meal, which had a lot of sodium in it because I went to Olive Garden. And so I ended up going to sleep around like 12:45 or something, and past midnight, and doing the same thing. I'm on my back. I use 2 pillows behind my head, and the whole military position, and the four things. Oh, by the way, I do use the breathing now, which I do the 4-7-8 breathing, and I do it 4 inhales through the nostrils, hold for 7 seconds, 8 exhales. Last night I did through the mouth, and I do it only 4 times. And before that, I use the intention, the 4-time intention phrase. I intend to be out of my body with complete consciousness. I repeat that 4 times verbally, and then every time I start drifting and my mind starts getting into stuff, I do it in my mind also, and that can end up just being like an ongoing string of, I intend to be out of my body with complete consciousness. Just saying that like over and over and over and over and over and over, and over again, because I'm catching myself drifting, and I know what I'm after, and I'm not going to just let myself drift. So that's why I do that. So this experience was preceded by a very real dream event. And it was like there was some kind of tangibility about this. but essentially it's like, imagine a black hole comes up next to your shoulder and parks next to you. This is it sounds like corny, but okay. So it felt like a vehicle, right? But it was just so black, just so much dark blackness to it. The moment I had awareness of this, though, I caught myself and I said, okay, this feels like black darkness, but I'm not going to be afraid of even that. And so as soon as that happened, I sort of looked at whatever this was. All I can say is it just felt like the presence of a vehicle, but it was made out of nothing but dark matter, right? If dark matter exists, whatever. Right after that occurred, I'm out of my body. And again, I'm in 0G. This time, it feels like basically my bed is one of those beds, that comes up in the back, but it's not just coming up. It's like pushing me out. And so I am floating, like you see those guys in the vomit comet, they call it, in the NASA, the NASA people, and when they go up in their 747 and it does that thing, and they film people being weightless, right? In that. Okay. So, so it felt like, or it looked like and felt like I'm doing that, I'm weightless and I'm moving around. And then I had the thought to myself, well, I really want some tangibility here, because this is just going to become, not like, it's not going to be believable to me. And I'm experiencing this. So as soon as that thought went through my head, then I'm taking steps and I'm like feeling solid gravity under my feet. And then I was like, okay, that's good. So I'm putting my arms out, and I'm realizing at this moment, I can't see anything. So I put my arms out and I end up hitting the edge of a wall, which once I opened my eyes, I realized, well, that's right here in my hotel room. There's like this, I'm at the sleep in, and there's this little corner that comes out. And that's what I was feeling with every, nerve cell you can think of. I'm feeling that in my hands, right? In the out of body experience. And this pretty much is the end of it as well, because at this point I'm saying, okay, why can't I see anything? And as soon as I'm asking that question, then the experience is over. I'm back in the body. But the other thing that's interesting about this one is that I wake up and I feel rested. I've been on my back for about 2.5 hours or 3 hours maybe. And I feel rested. I was about to just check out the hotel at like 3:30 a.m. And I just thought, I got this hotel, I might as well, get some more sleep. So I ended up doing that instead. But I could have, like, if there was a need for me to, I could have just, packed up and left on 2.5 hours of sleep. And which I didn't expect that. So those are my 2 successful out-of-body experiences so far. I have not heard any voices. I've not seen anybody. But the moment I had the first successful thing, it was like, I was thinking about that all this past week, that past week, it was like finding out you can fly. That's the only way I can describe it.
Now that you know how to do it, and you're doing it.
Yeah.
It is it's the thing that you're gonna just keep on doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the contact and stuff like that, like more access, it just comes the more you do it. Like I remember the first times of doing it, I spent a lot of the time in the room for a while, like, just like navigating that, not even getting contact, but then it progresses.
Okay.
Yeah. The black thing's interesting, because the black, that type of energy is typically as a portal anyways, and which I find interesting.
That was so really. I shouldn't cut you off.
Typically anyways, the black portal, things like that, black things that almost have like a Atari effect to it, or
it was so black.
Yeah. dimensional space
All
access points or portals and stuff like that, where the reality starts to bend towards you and then you're somewhere else. So yeah.
It was so black, and I can see how people would be horrified by it. But I made a conscious decision. I'm not going to be horrified by that. Whatever that is, I'll figure it out, And I don't know if I ended up going into it. I definitely ended up facing it and looking, into it deeply.
Yeah, that's you going into it. Yeah.
Okay. Because that's the other thing, is that the waitlist happened the moment I did that, and that was it. But I was not out of my body seeing the black car pull up. I'm calling it a car, but that's the only thing I can. It's like there was some headlights. I don't know how to explain this, but whatever it was so black. I mean, it was like, this thing is antimatter itself, and I am, because I've had your course, I knew that I didn't need to be afraid of this, but I have no doubt about it that other people that are going through this, if they weren't prepared with your information, they would be utterly terrified to their, they would be like crying, like in their sleep, wanting to fucking, wake the hell up.
Yep.
Yeah. And fortunately I had your material. So I didn't have that experience. Instead, I had this. Okay. So the one thing that I would like your input on is why I had no sight in that last.
Well, I would say because you went through the last one. You're talking about the black thing. Yeah, you could call it a dimensional space, a portal access point. So when you're typically going through those, it's if you don't fully, like, if you're not fully on the other side of that, right? It's just going to be almost like the void black. So therefore you're not necessarily going to see anything once you're going through those spaces. But when you become on the other side, typically you could be anywhere. I'm not necessarily sure exactly where you end up, but it could be certain records, halls, different location in the realm, or et cetera, So I would say because you didn't necessarily finish the full transfer when you were staring, because just by staring into it, that thing, it seemed like that blackness engulfed your everything. So therefore it's like your vision was gone at that point, and because you were,
Other times in my life, I've had out of bodies that were uncontrolled. They weren't near death or anything. Just real. My father passed away 3 years ago, and I was with him in the out of body state. Absolutely as real as, the nose on your face, everything. And I knew it was real while it was happening. And the only thing that sounds unreal is when I give the account afterwards, right? But I knew this is a real zone. And that was 3 years ago. But I didn't know how to get there. I just knew that I had been there, And my wife passed away in July, and I have had at least 2 experiences that I remember with her now that are in the out of body state. And so anyway, you go into that. You got probably end of the time here, but I really appreciate the material, Darius. I don't know if anybody has any idea how much work it takes to put something like this together, and I don't know how you do it, but all I can say is thank you. People's lives are going to get changed through this, and this is incredible. This is really all I want to kind of focus on right now. So
years of I appreciate it, because it's been years of practice, and then also trying to figure out a way to make this a repeatable, practical thing for people.
I don't know what other words I can use to say it. This is something is happening in humanity right now, and I don't know if anybody else, other people are having, like, they're talking about NDEs and stuff like that, but to actually do this under control and to actually understand that you are doing this because of your right as a sovereign being with this power, that's not coming up anywhere on the radar screen except for what you've done with the ADA method. So
it's a controlled near death. So
Yeah.
like it's no different from the information that you'll access once you die. It's just you're doing it while you're here, and
Yeah.
contact with dead relatives, like just like
Yeah.
what you said. So it's just when applied in practice, it just gets more things open up, you know, and like the memory and information just becomes easier to, you know. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing. I think a lot of people are going to get value out of this, and I hope to have you on again when you
Yeah,
experience
if I
more.
get any
So,
contact, would you
yeah.
want to hear? Would you want to do another testimony if I get any contact?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Leave your body
Okay.
some more, access some more things, because you've already
Okay.
confirmed everything that I've been saying so far with a lot of things that you just shared already. But yeah, just keep
Right.
on accessing things, and then once you access more, just we'll
Yeah.
pop on a call. Yeah, we'll do it.
And the last thing I would say to your viewers is that you will know when you're there. This is not a dream state. This is not a lucid dream. This is not an astral projection. You will know when you're there. If you use the method and you set the intention, you will know exactly what you're doing and when it happens. This is not a big mystery. But anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When people experience it, they're gonna know it's just gonna be as night and day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. And
My pleasure. Yeah.